On to our last example, and let's just get started. We want to take the derivative of the top function. Well, if we're going to do that, we might want to think about what that top function is first. And I'm going to write it in a slightly different color so that our work doesn't blend together here. F of x is equal to sine of x times cosine of x. And if you take that derivative, you are going to need the product rule because we have a function times a function. So the derivative of sine of x is cosine of x, then times the second function, which is cosine of x, plus the first function times the derivative of the second function, which is minus sine of x. And this right here then is going to simplify to cosine squared of x minus sine squared of x. So I'm going to put that in the numerator here, because the first thing I want to do is take the derivative of sine of x cosine of x, which is cosine squared x minus sine squared x. Okay. Now remember, with the quotient rule, you want the derivative of the top times the bottom function minus the top function times the derivative of the bottom function. Okay, well, let's figure out what that would be. So we have g of x is equal to the square root of x, or how about x to the 1/2, and therefore its derivative, we'll use the power rule to find, so 1/2 x to the minus 1/2, or if you want, 1/2, how about 1 over 2 times the square root of x. There we go. And so I'll put that here. G prime of x should be 1 over 2 root x. Then the next thing is you want to square what we have here in the denominator. Now let's try and do a little bit of simplification. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both the numerator and denominator by 2 square root of x. And the whole point in that is so that we don't have this fraction in the numerator anymore. Okay. So let's do that. We're going to have cosine squared of x minus sine squared of x. This is all times the square root of x, and then remember we said we were going to multiply numerator and denominator by 2 root x. Then minus sine of x cosine of x times 1 over 2 square root of x times 2 square root of x. And this is all over. Let's try that one more time. There we go. All right, and this is now all over the square root of x squared still, times 2 times the square root of x. And we can keep going. Now, in the numerator, we're going to get cosine squared of x minus sine squared of x. Then this is all times 2x, right? The square root of x times the square root of x just gives you x. Then we have minus sine of x cosine of x. And then this is all over. Two times the square root of x cubed. There's our derivative, and that's it for this section.